Have you ever wondered why your neighbor, who drives a decade-old sedan and wears nothing but plain, faded t-shirts, is secretly the wealthiest person on the block? Yet the guy down the street, cruising in a brand new luxury sports car, seems to be perpetually stressed, living paycheck to paycheck and constantly one unexpected bill away from a financial meltdown. It doesn't make sense, right? We've been conditioned by social media, movies, and advertisements to believe that wealth is what you see. The fancy watches, the high-end vacations, and the shiny metal in the driveway. But let me be blunt, that is not wealth. That is just consumption. The truth is, we have been fundamentally misled by the definition of being rich. We are chasing an aesthetic, a status symbol, while the people who are actually building true generational security are hiding in plain sight. They are not playing the game of looking successful. They are playing the game of becoming successful. In this video, we are going to strip away the illusions. We're going to look at the psychological paradoxes of money and why the habits that truly make you wealthy are often the most invisible ones. If you feel like you're doing everything right, but still don't feel rich, this isn't just another finance video. This is the moment you realize you might already be on the right path, and you just didn't see the signs. Let's dive into the secret world of the quiet millionaires. To understand why so many people are playing the wrong game, we have to talk about a seminal book that changed everything, The Millionaire Next Door. For decades, this research has acted as a mirror for society, showing us exactly what real wealth looks like. And spoiler alert, it looks absolutely nothing like what you see on Instagram or in high-end lifestyle magazines. The fundamental trap most of us fall into is a simple linguistic error. We use the words income and wealth interchangeably. We assume that if someone has a high 5-figure or 6-figure salary, they are rich. But let me be clear, if you think income is the true measure of wealth, you are playing a game that you will never, ever win. Think about it. If you earn $200,000 a year, but spend $205,000 on lifestyle expenses, mortgage interest, car payments, and status signaling purchases, what is your actual financial position? You are effectively broke. You are a high-income earner, yes, but you are also a high-consumption machine. You have income, but you have zero wealth. Wealth, by definition, is what you don't see. It is the money that has been saved, invested, and compounded rather than spent. It is the fuel that buys your future freedom. When you buy a brand new luxury SUV, you aren't becoming wealthy. You're converting your potential wealth, your freedom, your options, your future security into a rapidly depreciating asset sitting in your driveway. Wealth is the financial equivalent of the iceberg. The visible part, the clothes, the cars, the trips, is just a tiny fraction of the total. The real, massive, life-altering power is happening beneath the surface, where your capital is growing quietly, unseen, and untaxed by your social circle's judgment. The people who are genuinely winning this game, the ones who retire in their 40s or build generational security, understand that every dollar spent is a dollar that no longer works for them. Every dollar you choose not to spend is a silent worker you've hired to secure your freedom. This is what we call invisible wealth. It is the absence of debt, the lack of status signaling, and the presence of assets that grow while you sleep. It is easy to get caught up in the keeping up with the Joneses trap, especially in the era of social media where everyone is broadcasting their curated highlights. You see the vacation in Dubai, you see the designer bag, and your amygdala kicks in, making you feel like you are falling behind. But you aren't falling behind. You're just watching a performance. You aren't seeing the credit card statements. You aren't seeing the stress of the mortgage payments that consume 50% of their take-home pay. You aren't seeing the anxiety of a layoff that would wipe them out in 30 days. When you start to view wealth as the accumulation of choices rather than the demonstration of status, your entire financial world flips. You stop trying to impress strangers who don't care about you, and you start trying to impress your future self. This brings us to a critical realization. Your highest earning years are not guaranteed. They are a finite resource. If you use those years simply to upgrade your lifestyle, moving to a bigger house just because you got a promotion, you are effectively trapping yourself in a cycle where you have to keep working forever just to maintain the image of success. That is not wealth. That is a gilded cage. True wealth is the ability to walk away from a job you hate. It is the ability to navigate a market crash without losing sleep because you have a cushion that the rich-looking people don't have. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that your lifestyle is funded by your assets, not your labor. So as we move forward, I want you to start auditing your own life through this lens. Ask yourself, are my actions today designed to make me look rich, or are they designed to make me wealthy? The difference is massive. It's the difference between a lifetime of stress and a future of total control. And once you start to master this, you'll realize that being quietly rich is the most powerful position you could ever occupy. We are about to look deeper into the specific behaviors that distinguish the people who truly own their future from those who are just borrowing it. Now that we've established what invisible wealth actually is, let's look at the two distinct characters playing the game of life. This isn't about being judgmental, it's about observing patterns. In any modern economy, whether you're in New York, London, or Berlin, you are likely looking at two very different types of individuals.
Let's call them the PAW and the UAW. First, meet the PAW, the prodigious accumulator of wealth. These are the people who, statistically, you would never guess are millionaires. They don't drive the newest model off the showroom floor. They don't wear flashy logos. They live in modest homes, often in neighborhoods that look completely average. Their focus isn't on what they can consume today, but on how much they can plant for tomorrow. A PAW understands that every dollar they save is a seed that will eventually grow into a forest of options. They are disciplined, they are patient, and most importantly, they are unimpressed by the superficial markers of success that distract everyone else. On the other side, we have the UAW, the under-accumulator of wealth. And this is where it gets interesting, because the UAW isn't necessarily a low earner. In fact, many UAWs are highly successful professionals. We are talking about surgeons, corporate lawyers, senior software engineers, and high-level managers. They possess incredible technical skills. They have high incomes that would make the average person envious. Yet, despite these massive paychecks, their net worth remains frustratingly low, sometimes even negative. Why? The answer is a phenomenon we call lifestyle inflation. You see, the UAW has fallen into a dangerous mental trap. They believe that their income is a reflection of their social standing. When they receive a promotion, they don't see it as an opportunity to increase their savings rate, they see it as an invitation to increase their overhead. A bigger house, a more expensive zip code, a premium car lease, and the social pressure to maintain a certain image in their high-status circles. They are trapped in a competitive performance. Every time they earn more, they spend more, and the gap between their income and their expenses never grows. In fact, for many, that gap actually shrinks. The UAW is effectively running on a treadmill at top speed. They are working harder and harder, honing their professional skills to get that next salary bump, only to hand that entire raise over to the bank for a higher mortgage or a more expensive monthly car note. They are technically rich in terms of salary, but they are poor in terms of actual, liquid, freedom-buying power. This is the great twist of the modern middle and upper middle class. Professional success does not equate to financial success. You can be the best in your field, you can be highly respected by your peers, and yet, financially, you can be incredibly fragile. A UAW is one bad quarter or one unexpected health event away from disaster because their entire life is built on an expensive foundation that requires continuous high-intensity labor to maintain. If you are a UAW, you might be thinking, "But I deserve this. I worked hard for this career." And you're right, you do deserve the fruits of your labor. But here's the hard truth. If your labor is the only thing keeping you afloat, you aren't truly successful yet. You're just a very high-paid employee of your own lifestyle. The PAW, however, has realized something that the UAW hasn't. The PAW knows that the success society screams about, the luxury brand in the garage, the expensive schools, the constant upgrades, is actually a form of self-imposed tax. By opting out of that race, the PAW is not depriving themselves. They are simply buying the ultimate luxury, the luxury of not having to care. They don't need the car to be happy. They don't need the validation of their neighbors to feel secure. It's a fundamental difference in philosophy. The UAW measures success by the things they can show off to others. The PAW measures success by the things they have built that others don't even see. This leads us to the most important question of all. If you've spent your life focusing on your professional skills to earn more, are you using that money to buy status, or are you using it to buy your own independence? Because one of these paths leads to a lifetime of high-stress performance, and the other leads to the quiet, invisible power of true wealth. But before we get into how you can shift from being a UAW to a PAW, we need to address the psychological anchor that holds us all back, our deep-seated need for social validation. And that, as it turns out, is the biggest expense of all. But why do we do it? Why are we so desperate to show the world that we have made it, even when we know it's burning our future to the ground? It comes down to a deep-seated human instinct, the need for belonging, and the quiet, nagging roar of internal insecurity. We live in a social hierarchy where status is often measured by consumption. We think that by owning a premium brand, we are signaling our competence, our success, and our worth to the world. But in reality, we are just signaling our vulnerability. We are telling the world, "Please notice me, please validate me." The tragedy is that the people you are trying to impress usually don't care, and the people you actually want to respect you are the ones who can see through the performance. When you let go of that need for external validation, you don't just save money, you regain your sanity. This brings us to the math. And if you think money is just about numbers, you're missing the point. Money is a tool for time traveling.
Every dollar you keep today, instead of spending on a depreciating asset, is a dollar you are sending to your future self. Let's talk about the silent engine of wealth, compound interest. When you take the money that the performance lifestyle demands and put it into assets, whether that's equities, index funds, or business ventures, you aren't just holding money, you are putting it to work. If you have $500 a month that you would have spent on an upgrade to your car or your wardrobe, and instead you deploy that into the market, you aren't just saving $6,000 a year, you are creating a flywheel. Over 10, 15, 20 years, that money experiences exponential growth. You are effectively buying your future time. The UAW is trading their finite time for temporary status. The PAW is trading their temporary status for infinite time. And that leads us to the ultimate definition of wealth. For years, I thought wealth was a number on a screen. I thought it was the comma in your net worth, but I was wrong. True wealth is the ability to walk away. It is the power to say no. It is the freedom to wake up on a Tuesday morning and know that you are doing what you are doing because you choose to, not because you are handcuffed by your own expenses. When you don't have the gilded cage of a lifestyle that requires a massive, continuous cash infusion, your entire personality changes. You become calmer. You become more creative. You stop taking jobs that drain your soul just to pay for a house you're never home to enjoy. You stop engaging in office politics that make you miserable just to climb a ladder you didn't even want to be on. That is what we mean by invisible wealth. It isn't just about the money in the bank, it's about the silence in your head. It's the absence of the anxiety that comes with being over-leveraged. It is the quiet confidence of knowing that you could lose your job tomorrow, and while it would be an inconvenience, it wouldn't be a catastrophe. Most people are working so hard to build an image of success that they never actually get around to building the success itself. They are spending their life building the facade while the foundation remains hollow. If you want to stop that cycle, you have to be willing to be the person who doesn't look rich. You have to be willing to be the person who drives the older car, who packs their own lunch, who invests while others are shopping. It takes a massive amount of internal strength to swim against the current of modern culture. It's much easier to just buy the watch, buy the car, and fit in. But fitting in is expensive. Fitting in will cost you your freedom. So, stop looking for validation in the eyes of strangers. Stop measuring your progress by how much you can consume. Measure your progress by how many of your days you own. Because at the end of the day, when you are lying in bed, the only thing that will keep you awake at night is either the fear of losing what you've built or the peace of knowing you are free. And believe me, once you experience that freedom, you will never want to trade it for a status symbol again. We are building something that lasts, not something that just looks good for a season. And the beauty of it is, no one has to know. The best part of being quietly rich is that you are the only one who needs to know the truth. So, where does this leave you? If we strip away the noise, becoming a quiet millionaire really comes down to just mastering 3 fundamental rules. First, you must live consistently below your means, not because you have to, but because you choose to prioritize your future over your current ego. Second, you must aggressively channel those surplus funds into sustainable, income-generating assets rather than fleeting status symbols. And third, and perhaps most difficult of all, you must completely detach your self-worth from the external validation of others. The path to real wealth isn't paved with flashy upgrades. It's paved with the quiet, boring, and incredibly effective habit of staying the course. I want to challenge you to do something different tonight. Instead of scrolling through someone else's highlight reel, I want you to sit down and take a hard look at your own financial balance sheet. Ask yourself the uncomfortable question: are you currently building a genuine, invisible fortress of wealth, or are you just busy constructing an expensive virtual facade for the benefit of people who, frankly, don't care? Financial freedom isn't about the size of your paycheck. It's about the silence of your mind and the weight of your options. It is about waking up every single day and knowing that your time belongs to you, not to your creditors, not to your boss, and certainly not to your image. I want to hear from you. What is one specific, actionable step you are going to take this week to stop playing the status game and start playing the wealth game? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one of them. And if this perspective shifted the way you look at money, hit the share button and pass it on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.